If you expect something to turn out badly, it probably will. Pessimism is seldom disappointed, but the same principle also works in reverse. If you expect good things to happen, they usually do. There seems to be a natural cause and effect relationship between optimism and success. Optimism and pessimism are both powerful forces, and each of us must choose which we want to shape our outlook and our expectations. There's enough good and bad in everyone's life, ample sorrow and happiness, sufficient joy and pain, to find a rational basis for either optimism or pessimism. We can choose to laugh or cry, bless or curse. From which perspective do we want to view life? Will we look up in hope or down in despair? It's all about our decision. I believe in upward look. I choose to highlight the positive and skip right over the negative. An optimist by choice and as much as by nature. Sure, I know that sorrow exists, but when all is said and done, the good in life far outweighs the bad. An optimistic attitude is not a luxury; it's a necessity. The way you look at life will determine how you feel, how you perform, and how well you will get along with other people. Conversely, negative thoughts, attitudes, and expectations feed on themselves. They become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Pessimism creates a dismal place where no one wants to live. Optimism doesn't need to be naive. You can be an optimist and still recognize that problems exist and that some of them are not dealt with easily. But what difference optimism makes in the attitude of the problem solver, optimism diverts our attention away from negativism and channels it into positive, constructive thinking. When you're an optimist, you are more concerned with problem solving than with useless carping about issues. One windy spring day, I observed young people having fun using the wind to fly their kites. Multicolored creations of varying shapes and sizes filled the skies like beautiful birds darting and dancing in a heady atmosphere above the earth. As the strong winds gusted against the kites, a string kept them in check. Instead of blowing away with the wind, they arose against it to achieve great heights. They shook and puffed, but the restraining string and the cumbersome tail kept them in tow, facing upward and against the wind. As the kite struggled and trembled against the string, they seemed to say, let me go, I want to be free." They soared beautifully, even as they fought me for the imposed restriction of the string. Finally, one of the kites succeeded in breaking loose, freed at last, it seemed to say, free to fly with the wind. Yet freedom from restraint simply put it at the mercy of an unsympathetic breeze. It fluttered ungracefully to the ground and landed in a tangled mass of weeds and string against a dead bush. Freed at last, free to lie powerless in the dirt, to be blown helplessly along the ground, and to lodge lifeless against the first obstruction. How much like kites we sometimes are! The Lord gives us adversity and restrictions, rules to follow, from which we can grow and gain strength. Restraint is a necessary counterpart to the winds of opposition. Some of us tug at the rules so hard that we never soar to reach the height we might have obtained. We keep part of the commandment and never rest high enough to get our tails off the ground. Let us each rise to the great height God has in store for us, recognizing that some of the restraints that we may shift under are actually the steadying force that helps us ascend and achieve. A smile is a glow on our face. It is more powerful than a bulb of 1,000 watts, and the warmth it gives can serve us more than any electric heater. We are not fully dressed until we wear a smile on our face. A smile has a power of liberating one from the loneliness. There are many friends to receive it and return it abundantly. It was a great relief to understand the purpose behind offering a flower to God. A flower is a symbol of gratitude. The blossom is the indication of living in its full light, realizing its totality. It indicates the peak of necessity. There cannot be a level of being higher than it, and the offering is a proof of being thankful to God for the creation of such a tremendously beautiful world. A smile is the door to that gratefulness. If a flower is offered without a smile, it has no meaning. It is merely acting but not living. However, the acting can be a progressive phenomenon, but the offering without a smile can drag us only behind. It cannot lead us forward. In prayer, the knee is the offering of a smile. The flower is only an accessory. It should be remembered that a symbol is only a symbol. We can be full of love and life when we are even able to offer a smile to the trees, to the past, to the buildings, to the sun and to the sky. The existence is hungry for our facial expression. It is good to satisfy that hunger.